Are medications numbing your emotions? What's wrong with that? Well, that's a crappy thing for a therapist to say. Mended Light. Welcome to Crap Therapists Say, where we invite you, the Mended Light audience, to submit the worst advice or most terrible things therapists has ever said to you. And we try to provide some healing with some better advice.
So, darn it.
Oh, darn it.
Darn it.
And we got a submission about somebody talking to their psychiatrist about how the meds were affecting them.
Is that really taking that much away from your life? When I told my therapist that my medication was affecting my libido and numbing my emotions too much.
Like, is that really that big a deal?
It's only your ability to feel emotions and experience pleasure.
Yep.
What's the big deal?
Not that big
It's not
a deal.
a big deal.
No big deal.
See, I'm telling you that it's not a big deal. So therefore, it's not a big deal.
You know what this reminds me of is when if someone is crying and another person says, stop crying, what they're really saying is, I don't know how to handle this, so can we just make it go away?
Stop crying, stop.
If my psychiatrist is telling me, it's diminishing your libido and numbing your emotions, is that big of a deal? What I'm really saying is, it's not that big of a deal for me, right? I see you for 10 minutes to an hour every week or two, so this is your deal.
Not a big deal.
Yeah.
My work here is done.
And we did another video about numbing emotions.
Yes.
And how we can't selectively numb emotions. When we say we can't selectively numb emotions, we can't just numb the painful ones. When we numb the painful ones, we also numb pleasure and gratitude and joy, right? And the purpose of antidepressants, depressants?
Yeah, you said that correctly.
Isn't to overall numb our emotions. It's to take the edge off so that we can deal with them, right? And so if I'm coming to my therapist and saying, hey, I'm too numb, it's numbing everything, and I can't feel pain or pleasure.
It's a problem.
Yeah. Like,
It's a problem.
It's not doing its job.
Those are side effects we're not looking for. Taylor Tomlinson has a great little bit about antidepressants and psychotropic medications. I want to take a look at what she has to say and then weave it into our conversation here.
Bring the comedy in. Bring the comedy into the therapy. We need it.
Okay, I will.
I wasn't sure if I was going to talk about it on stage, and then I needed new material, and I was like, fire sale, everything goes. No, truthfully, I was surprised that I felt so bad about it, because I think I'm pretty open-minded, and I don't think anybody should feel bad if they get diagnosed with a mental illness, because it's just information about you that helps you know how to take better care of yourself.
Amen.
Being bipolar, there's nothing wrong with it. Being bipolar is like not knowing how to swim. It might be embarrassing to tell people, and it might be hard to take you certain places.
I love how she pauses.
But they have arm floaties. And if you just take your arm floaties, you can go wherever the hell you want. And I know some of you are like, but Taylor, what if people judge me for taking arm floaties? Well, those people don't care if you live or die, so maybe who cares? Maybe f*** those people a little. I don't know. That being said, you have to take your arm floaties. Because it's not cool to know you can't swim, go to the public pool anyway, and jump into the deep end, making it everyone else's problem. And you're thrashing around going, I'm good. They're like, you're literally drowning. And then someone nice and handsome jumps in to help you. And you're like, see, I'm fine. I can totally swim. And they're like, no, you're holding him underwater. You turned Kevin into an arm floaty. And that's not a fair relationship for Kevin. Then someone floats by you on their back and you're like, what was that? And they're like, oh, that's someone whose parents supported them in the pool. Until they could be trusted not to die. Here are your arm floaties.
So let's break this down. First and foremost, she makes wonderful points, which is that you may need medication. And there's nothing shameful or embarrassing about that. And the whole arm floaties thing is like, we can still take you to the pool, just wear your arm floaties. And what about people who judge me for wearing them? Well, they don't care if you live or die, right? It's a similar thing. People who would judge you for taking medications for depression or for anxiety don't, I could say they don't care if you live or die. They don't understand.
Yeah. They're projecting a judgment onto you regarding a situation they don't understand.
Yeah.
And so the validity of their opinion is non-existent.
Sorry, Tom Cruise, you're wrong.
And I know that psychiatry is a pseudoscience.
There is no validity to their opinion.
Right.
And maybe that opinion is coming from someone that you would like to understand. You would like them to understand your experience and your challenges.
Yes.
And when that opinion is coming from someone who you would like genuine understanding from, that's even harder. But still let that be their problem.
Yes.
And not your problem.
Yep. And own without shame, this is where I'm at, this is what I need. Now, to the point of our original conversation, what if you are so loaded with floaties, you have like 4 on this arm and 4 on this arm and 6 on each leg.
So you can't even move.
And then you have a duck one.
And a duck one.
Now, suddenly, your mobility is
Yeah.
extremely compromised. Because whereas with a couple of arm floaties, you can swim and you can move about the pool, when you're completely loaded up,
Too many floaties.
suddenly you're not getting the experience. Suddenly you're just sitting, a sitting duck. Get it? Because of the anyways. And that's the thing about psychotropic medication, and that's why it's important to do this in conjunction with somebody who not only knows what they're doing. People say that about a psychiatrist. I want to find someone who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
That matters. It also matters that they listen to you. Because if their goal is to get you, to diminish these symptoms and that's it, that might not be the same as your goal, which is I want to live a life.
Yeah. Well, and you talk about the dance between psychiatry and therapy.
Yes. I started out of school at a mental health agency for people on Medicaid, and I worked as the therapist on part of a clinical team, right? So sometimes there's a mental health therapist and a substance abuse recovery therapist working in tandem. And then sometimes there's a mental health therapist working in tandem with a psychiatrist because people were taking antidepressants or anti-anxiety or antipsychotics, right? And so we'd all work as a team together. And one thing that I learned from the psychiatrists on our staff, who I adored, is except in extreme cases where to deny people medication would be to put them in danger, he generally would say, okay, hold on. Let's have you go to therapy and try a few things. Let's have you try cognitive behavioral therapy. Let's have you try relationship therapy, because maybe your depression is directly tied to how you think, your behaviors, or your relationships. Let's see what happens if we address those things. And turns out a lot of people would do that work and they wouldn't need antidepressants.
And you would talk about, what does your rest look like? What does your exercise look like as far as body movement and health? Like, let's look at all the things that are affecting your life.
And what are you putting into your body?
Right. And after you've looked at all those things, see what's left over.
Because the mind-body connection is so strong, maybe people aren't getting enough nutrition, or they're not getting enough exercise. And I like to say exercise for sanity, not for vanity. Like, it's great to look at however you want to look. But as a therapist, what concerns me more is the antidepressant and anti-anxiety effects of fitness, of taking care of yourself. And sometimes people would do all of this and they'd say, turns out I didn't need antidepressants.
Right.
And in other cases, they would say, doing all this, still struggling.
Yeah.
At which point the psychiatrist would say, okay,
let's address it.
Let's address it medicinally. Yeah. And sometimes it wasn't exactly that. Sometimes it was like, hey, there's going to be a smaller dosage. I still want you doing all of this. And other times it had to do with homeopathics, right? Have you tried X, Y, or Z? The fact is, we tend to want shortcuts, right? Because we don't like to be in pain and we don't like to suffer and we want it to be resolved as quickly as possible. And in some cases, it's not about taking a shortcut. You really do need the medicine.
Yeah.
In other cases, it's about, okay, let's see what the actual need is for you and find just the right mix and just the right fit.
Well, and I think it's about having a conversation about meds aren't the solution.
Yeah.
Meds are a support, and they're a type of support. And it's not the only type of support.
Right.
And so getting the support that you need is most important.
Yeah.
And then once you get the support that you need, you can do the work. And doing the work is the solution.
Yeah.
But if you're taking the meds to the extent that they're numbing you and they're affecting your quality of life, then that's not actually true support.
Okay, so I love that. Let's run with this. Back to Taylor Tomlinson, the arm floaties thing. You can't swim. So we're going to give you arm floaties, and you're going to wear them while you're learning to swim.
Yeah.
Because right now you can't float on your own, and that's fine. Again, maybe you didn't have parents who supported you in the pool, right? Maybe, you know,
Darn it!
There could be a million reasons why, and none of it is shameful.
Yeah.
Do you want to be?
Well, I don't think it is ever shameful,
No.
right? And so putting that shame down and then getting the support that you need.
But the therapy would look like, if the meds are like the arm floaties, then the therapy is like swimming lessons, right? With the intention of getting you to a place where you're strong enough, skilled enough, knowledgeable enough, and experienced enough to start doing on your own things that you couldn't do before. And it's not a perfect metaphor because, of course, in cases of psychosis or chronic mental illness,
Right.
you may need medicine the rest of your life, and that's okay. But the most important thing, back to our original crap therapists say, is what matters to you in your life. What do you want? Do you want to swim? Then finding a therapist or a psychiatrist or a team that support you in that dream and help you march towards it, that's more important than, well, you know, we checked off this, these symptoms are gone and here's these side effects, but oh well.
Is it really that bad?
Because in the case of our original short-sighted and insensitive psychiatrist, it's like the options are drowning and not drowning, right? And so I gave you the arm floaties, you're not drowning, you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not swimming.
Yeah.
I want to swim. I want to enjoy life like these people are, right? And so that's what that looks like.
And overall, whether it's the medication or whether it's therapy, like what you're looking for is support.
Yeah.
Right? And so at any point where you're not getting the support that you need, which can be hugely frustrating when you're going to a specialist and you're over here being like, you're supposed to give me support and you're not giving me support,
It's not happening.
right?
Yeah.
What the hell am I paying you for?
And there are times when you say, hey, I'm not getting what I need from this person or this situation, and so I need to go look for support elsewhere.
Yes.
But changing the conversation around that, and specifically regarding medication, and it's okay to say, hey, this psychiatrist or this medication isn't giving me the support that I need, and advocating for yourself, and changing that dynamic so you do get the support that you need from that person. Or if that person is straight up not going to give it to you, go find someone else, which is super challenging. And I think we've all been there, like whether it's with therapy or school or a different type of doctor, we've all been in a situation where you're like, I'm looking for support and I'm not getting it, and it's so frustrating.
And may I add as a little caveat that clinicians are not divided into really great caring clinicians and people who just don't care. Sometimes you have caring clinicians who are busy, their caseload is too full, they've got other things going on in their life, and they think they're giving you what you need. And it's important for you to be able to voice, I don't feel like I'm getting the support I need, and here's why. And how they respond to that will tell you if this is a person you can keep working with. Because I've definitely had people that I thought, okay, I'm giving them exactly what they need, but I also had a lot on my mind, and I'm human, and I was just doing the best I could.
Yeah.
And when they said, I don't feel like I'm getting the support I need, here's what I need, I was happy to pivot, but I didn't see it until they voiced it. So that's just a little caveat I wanted to throw in there. So here's a question for all of you who are watching. Have you ever felt that you weren't getting the support that you needed, and how did you handle it? Or how would you handle it in the future? Let us know in the comments below.
It's so important to be your own advocate, and sometimes that is extra challenging when you're going through a hard situation.
Yeah. And in the defense of myself and therapists everywhere, there are a lot of great therapists doing a lot of great work, helping a lot of people. The fact is, some of the older models of thinking and doing things aren't cutting it in today's world. So we want to share this video with you, why traditional therapy is failing, which is going to pop up here in a moment. Until next time, folks, keep shining.
We need your light.